Sarah, you've had a lot of ups and downs, including the first time your mom didn't know who you were, which you were talking to me about earlier. Now, for our audience who may have friends on the journey of Alzheimer's specifically, is there any advice you could offer on how they can be supportive in these super delicate moments that many people have not experienced themselves?
Yeah, for sure. I think Alzheimer's is one of those things where, like we talked about with the grief, it is a very strange grief in that the person's still there. So I would advise people who are learning about Alzheimer's and the caregiver of the person with Alzheimer's is to remember that that person is in grief, even though their mother is, or father, or spouse, I should say, is around.
Anybody. Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly is around. So I would let people know that this is a real feeling, that the feelings are coming from a place of grief. So almost treat it that way. I think a lot of the time like you said, you believe the person passes away, and then you're like, oh, they're in grief. And I really would love people to remember that when Alzheimer's is a type of grief that's very unique, and it's a slow, painful experience. So just remembering whoever you're supporting, the caregiver who you're supporting, is to treat it a bit like that. I often said to friends, really good friends of mine who said, what can I do? And I said, to be honest, I would love, like, almost treating it like, especially when I was dealing with my father who's passing away and my mother, I had these two things. I didn't have time to cook. I didn't have time to do anything. So remembering, like, you would probably bake muffins and maybe make more than a dozen and hand over a bit. And it's just showing that you care about them, and they actually have a chance not to think about food even. Another thing I would consider is instead of giving unsolicited advice, saying, well, have you seen this? Well, have you tried that? And as much as I know it comes from a really good place, and there's no doubt in that, I know it comes from a lot of love. Really, I would rather them say, do you need some help? Do you want me to look into something for you? Is there something that I can do for you? Questions like that allows the caregiver to actually step off this like plate of craziness and go, is there something? And it gives them pause to actually say, yeah, actually there is something. Specific with my mom's friends, they would say, oh, I'm so sorry, Sarah. Joy is so wonderful. I can't believe she's going through this. And they would say that, and then a few would say, obviously, offer help, but some would really just not know what to do. And if you just ask the question, then I can, and which some did, I can say, actually, when things open up, the lockdown with COVID, please visit her, because I am struggling to get there myself. I go twice a week to see my mom, and more if I can. And if I know that her friend that she was friends with for years goes to see her once every week or every 2 weeks, it's another day where, like, okay, my mom has someone looking out for her today. Those sorts of things really help.
Someone kind of tag teaming it for you, so you don't feel like she doesn't have people around, and being able to just have that extra person. And going back to what you touched on about, delivering food and things like that, I also would find that super helpful, because I know for me, and I'm guessing I'm not the only one out there, that when stressors are high, we tend to not want to cook. We tend to grab what we can grab, order what we can order. And, there's other things in our life that eating terribly are going to affect, right? Like, we're trying to keep our health up. Some of us are trying to work towards healthier bodies and minds and things like that. And when we get in this overwhelming stress, and in those moments, we just don't care, that kind of food delivery thing that you were talking about would really make a difference. I mean, yesterday I was telling one of my friends that we were home for COVID, and like, we didn't have any wine. It's like, so they literally sent us wine, because it was like,
awesome.
You know what I mean? It's like, or somebody will send us X, Y, or Z, right? And it's like, just that shows that someone's listening to you and they took the initiative. Because the other thing is that a lot of people don't take the initiative or ask you, not ask you what you need, but be like, hey, do you need X, Y, or Z? Be specific, because I'm not going to ask you specifically for something possibly, but that really helps me. And the other thing that helps me as well is that, I don't know how you feel about this, Sarah, but another type of support that is helpful is that if I can just even get time away where I'm only responsible for myself, that's helpful too. But that comes with a lot, right? That's like someone making sure that anything that I'm caring for right now as Eva is taken care of in a point where I don't have to think about it or worry about it or make sure she's fed or anything like that. What do you think about that?
Oh, 100%. I would love time alone. And I'll take the wine too.
That's right.
Yeah.
we just start drinking in the bathroom, just lock the door.
Basically. Oh yeah, I remember honestly, sometimes I would just look at my husband and say, I just want to be alone. And I'm an extrovert. So for me to say that is actually pretty bad because I get energy from people, but I was too many people. And I need alone time. For sure, I totally agree. And I love that you talk about specifics, because actually asking someone can give them pause and actually go, okay, what do I need? But then you're absolutely right. Sometimes you're like, I'm fine. It's such a normal thing to say. It's fine. I'll be fine. It almost comes out of your mouth before you even think about it. So I think it's really important to say, I'm going to make you food. What would you like? What kind of dietary restrictions? Or can I take the kids for a walk?
Yeah.
So I think specifics are really good, like you said. I love that idea.
Even down to, you're right, down to the dietary restrictions. Like that is huge. Like that makes a difference in people's life. Like I can't eat dairy. Great if someone wants to cook me something, except for if it's full of dairy. Like, so even just going that extra mile, but I find that is really helpful to kind of sum it up for people, because if someone says, what do you need? I'm honestly going to say nothing, I'm fine, because I don't want to put the thought into thinking about what I need because it's more work, right? So if someone can just come to me with something, that would be even better. So